forget this time. Hi guys, it's Jackie M from Masters of Malaysian Cuisine with Kongsi. And this is our series of live videos in partnership with Facebook group Masa Apa Tak Jadi Hari Ini. And today we are in session 2 of the series with Liam Ghani over in South Africa. Guys, please say hello. Let us know where you're watching from. Liam is making one of my favorite Chinese New Year snacks called bakwa. Apparently in most parts of Malaysia it's called bakwa, but in my part of Malaysia I actually grew up knowing it as long yolk because I'm Cantonese. I speak Cantonese and Hakka. But bakwa or long yolk, he's making a chicken version of it. Back when I had my restaurant, I used to make a chicken and a beef version. But also, guys, we are so incredibly excited to welcome back Renee from Dubai, from our core Masters of Malaysian Cuisine group. So great to have you back, Renee. Renee is going to be hosting Liam. Guys, don't forget to say hello and let us know where you're watching from. And you need to sign up at malaysianchefs.com/join today if you want this recipe and all our e-magazines. But let me just quickly play a quick clip from Tourism Malaysia while we all settle down. And we'll come back with Liam and Renee and let them take it away. Okay, we'll see you back here in 30 seconds.
Hey, now, we're ready to go. We're ready to go. Come on. Gotta make a move to get there right now. Somewhere nice so we can get away. Better than the ordinary day. You're my paradise. Malaysia, truly Asia.
Yeah, guys, Jackie M back again with Masters of Malaysian Cuisine and Kongsi. So welcome back, everyone. Welcome, Liam, and welcome, Renee. Great to have you guys.
Hi. Great to be here again. It's been a while since I've been with you guys, so I'm really excited for this.
That's the other thing, guys. For those of you who've seen Liam do cook-alongs with Paul and also do other MOMC broadcasts, you will notice, if you pay close attention, he's in a totally brand new kitchen. So go and check out his beautiful new kitchen in his corner of South Africa. But okay, guys, I'm going to leave you. Renee, all the best, and Liam, all the best. And I will come back and say hello again a little bit later on. Thanks, guys.
All right.
Hi, Renee. Yay, I'm so glad you're here with me today.
Yeah, this is a good one. I mean, I've been always waiting, when I'm gonna host Liam, get a chance to host Liam.
Oh no, your turn finally came around. Oh dear.
Yeah, and,
no, we're gonna
probably in a privilege to be in your new kitchen, right?
Oh yes, thank you very much. This is my first public viewing of it, but yes, I'm getting used to it still. It's taking me a little bit of time, like all new kitchens. You have a few disasters the first time around, but slowly but surely we're getting there. But today, this is going to go well. I have a feeling it's going to go very well.
It will surely. Everyone will fully support you from where they are. So welcome back. Quickly all viewers. So it's good to be back again. All right, especially with this special view for Masa Apa Tak Jadi Hari Ini, right? From Masters of Malaysian Cuisine and our Masters of Malaysian Cuisine at heart. Right, so where we line up a special Kongsi. All right, yes. So now we have Liam. We heard you're going to share something very interesting with us, right? Let's talk about it.
Do I? Oh, what do I need to share with you? I'm not sure. Oh dear. No, nothing to excite. What I'm eager to share though is this recipe because I love bakwa. Bakwa for me, Chinese New Year is all about bakwa. And yeah, I was very lucky when I was a kid living in Malaysia. Every year when Chinese New Year came around, my family would ship me off to my Chinese relatives for the week. I don't know whether they were just happy to get rid of me for a week, but I was very happy to go. And every time we went there, there was always the most amazing Chinese New Year treats. But my favorite was always sneaking to the fridge and having little bits of bakwa. So this has fond memories for me. So I'm really excited about this.
That's great.
Yes.
Exciting.
Yeah.
So everyone is already starting to tune in. Welcome back again. Tell us again where you're watching for, and go ahead, Liam. Tell us how to do your special bakwa.
Oh, special bakwa. Okay, well, firstly, as Jackie mentioned, we're doing a chicken version. Actually, we're doing a halal version. So what we've got, we basically have got some chicken mince. In fact, let me just move my camera down for 1 second. You can see all my ingredients. Okay, let me just move this down. Okay, so there's a lot of sauces, obviously, that go into this. So we have some fish sauce. Let me just move this up a bit. We've got some fish sauce. We've got some light soy sauce, some 5-spice powder. We've also got some ground white pepper, some sesame oil, some dark soy sauce, not sweet soy sauce, just darkening soy sauce, and also some hoisin sauce. Traditionally, you would also add some Shaoxing rice wine, but because we're making a halal version, I've decided to substitute it with a bit of hoisin, just to give a little bit more depth to it as well. Contentiously, I'm using some red food coloring. If you don't want to use red food coloring, it's not a problem. You can actually use red preserved bean curd, which will actually give a lot of color to it as well, which is actually kind of what you would add to char siu if you were making char siu from scratch. So those are our ingredients. We've also got chicken mince. So what I've got here is a mixture of chicken breasts and also chicken thighs. You don't want to just use chicken breast because it's too lean. For bakwa, you need a little bit of fat content. So if you can, rather use a little bit of chicken skin if you don't have chicken thighs, just to kind of bring up the fat quantity. But yeah, a combination of the two. So I'm using a 50-50 mix of those two things. So this recipe is for about 1 kilogram's worth of meat. So let me just move this up slightly. My head's being cut off. Okay, it's for about so it's about 1 kilogram plus minus, and the sauces all get mixed into that. So all we're going to do is we're just going to get a big mixing bowl. I suggest actually a lot of people would just throw their sauces onto the meat, which you can do, but because you're going to be mixing it all through, kind of getting it nice blended, it's actually better to pre-mix your sauces first. So we're just going to pour in our sauces. Let me just turn this down so you can see what I'm doing. Okay. Oh, other vital ingredient I forgot to mention, the sugar. Of course, bakwa, lots of sugar. So I'm using caster sugar, again, because it dissolves much easier into the marinade that you're going to put it into. Let's just throw that in there. I'm using about 150 grams worth of, well, actually like about half a cup's worth, which is about 125 grams. So we're just going to put all these ingredients in.
So do you reckon if someone prefer to change the sugar to a brown sugar, do you think it's a good option? Or
you can just be aware that you will have to mix it a little bit more. It won't dissolve quite as easily. But yes, there's no reason if you wanted to use brown sugar, you could do. It would probably give you a slightly more caramelized taste to it. Okay.
Have you ever tried
like I said,
palm sugar?
I know it's a contentious thing, but my red powder's going in, my red dye. Okay. So let me just get rid of those. And then I'm just going to whisk this together just to give it a little bit of a mix. Now, again, I just want the sugar to dissolve slightly.
Yeah, I think it's a good tips as well that you mix all the ingredients first rather than you throw everything into the sugar, right?
It makes it much easier. And like I said, because what will happen is, because the meat is also very dense as well, because it's all minced, to get all the flavors through to every part of the meat that you have is quite difficult if you were just to throw it all on. And it's no extra work. Maybe it's one extra bowl for cleaning, but that's okay. Okay, then we're gonna put in our mince.
So the mince, chicken mince, you mince it yourself, or do you?
I did actually.
Okay.
I did. You can. I must be honest. I'm a bit of a gadget king. I have a lot of kitchen gadgets, so I do actually have a mincer, which was the first time in a long time I've used. But if you want to do it by hand as well, you can. You just get a large cleaver, preferably 2, and you basically chop it, flip it over, keep chopping it until you get the desired consistency that you want. But again, if you've got a mincer, get it minced, or if you can buy it pre-minced, by all means do so. Because I must say that chopping, flipping, it's quite hectic. It takes a while. Okay.
Yeah, probably for some it's good a good practice to release some tension, or you know.
It is. It is. It's also good for your biceps too, and your arms. But yeah, no.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm just going to mix this all together. Now, ordinarily, what we would do is once this is mixed up, we would leave it in the fridge for at least a couple of hours. Overnight is preferable, but not essential. Really, what we want to do is to allow the meat to stiffen up slightly. Because as you'll see in a minute, how we're going to do it is actually we're going to be spreading it. So the warmer your meat is, the harder it is to spread, and also it doesn't really bind quite as well.
Okay. So meaning the protein starts to become more firmer, so it's more easier to spread it out.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which I'm not going to do, so I may have some problems going forward with this. But like I said, when you're doing this at home, definitely leave it in the fridge for at least 2 hours.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, a lot of people would say to you, why would you buy bakwa when you can go out and buy it if you live in Malaysia? But with the MCO going on, who knows? Maybe you can't get to the bakwa shop, and this is your best option. And of course, if you live outside of Malaysia, then this is for you.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good thought behind it, you know, sharing the recipe that you can do at home because of the current situation right now again. And then why not trying out to do your own bakwa at home? Yeah.
Precisely. And, you know, often bakwa has a bad reputation for having a lot of additives in it as well. So, you know, if you actually make it yourself, you can control what you want to do. And like I said, if you don't want to then use food coloring, then you can use alternatives as well, or just leave the food coloring out. So I know a lot of people are quite skeptical about such things. Yes, my mother always used to tell me off whenever I used to eat too much bakwa. She's like, "No, it's very bad for you. Stop it." I'm like, "No, I don't care." So, like I said, this would have gone in the fridge for a couple of hours. So the technique to this is you've got to spread it. So what I do is I use 2 pieces of wax paper. Excuse me. I use 2 pieces of wax paper and I spread it out a little bit, sandwich it between, and then I use a heavy rolling pin just to flatten it out slightly and to make it a little bit more cohesive and hold together. So what I also do too is that it gets cooked in the oven. Just before we carry on, I'll just talk you through that. So it's a 2-part process, well, 3 parts. The first part is it's baked for 15 minutes at 100 degrees. And then it gets turned up to 180 degrees for about another 15 minutes. And then I take it out and I actually brown mine with a blowtorch. I do that simply because it's convenient. If you have the ability to, if you would like, you can put it back into the oven on a high grill to char it slightly, or you can even actually put it in a barbecue just to give it that nice charred effect at the end. Because let's be honest, that's where the flavor is really at. So there's those little charred bits.
The charred and smoky finish to it, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, and the other bit of kit I have too is you need to have a wire rack. So because obviously when it's baking, especially in the first half of it, you want the heat to also permeate from the bottom as well and the top. So I have a wire rack which I use, which has a bit of space at the bottom, and that allows both sides to cook even. Okay, so what I've got, this is firstly my very fancy wire rack, which is actually a cutlery tray. This is my special bakwa rack. You don't have to use something like this. You can use any wire rack. I would suggest trying to find something which is gridded like this, simply because the bakwa will tend to flop over or go between the holes a little bit, which can be problematic. So I have another one which is actually just straight lines, which works, but it doesn't hold the meat quite as well. So I find this very helpful. But any wire rack will do. So what I've got,
one is quite interesting. You know, I never thought to use that even. You know, a good one.
I know, neither did I. I was desperate to make it, and it wasn't quite working with what I had. So I just scrounged through my cupboards, and I found this long forgotten cutlery rack, and I thought, I know, what can I use it for? Bakwa. But yes, just like my blowtorch, I bought my blowtorch with ambitions of bruleeing things and all that stuff, and no, I use it to char my meat. So I've got my wax paper. any wax paper will do. Obviously, there's a shiny side and there's a matte side. We want to put the meat on the shiny side. So cut it to slightly larger than the wire rack that you've got. And I'm just going to turn this down slightly so you can see. So you just check which side we're on. Okay, that's my shiny side. Now, to spread it, I recommend using 2 large spoons. I find that's the easiest. So I'm going to use about 200 grams worth of this. Let's just put that on. Okay. So what I do is I take both spoons and I basically move it about. Again, I'm trying to get the meat to adhere together without, so I'm trying not to have too many gaps. And I'm just going to push it out into a bit of a rectangle. Okay, so that.
So we have Alia asking where can we get the printed recipes. So Alia, the recipes, okay, if you say you can sign up in MalaysianChef.com/join today, then Leah will be very happy later on to share you the recipe over there, and you can get more. Not apart from this recipe, all other recipes that we're gonna kongsi with you.
Absolutely, that's the theme of the theme of the series this time. No, but definitely all our recipes will be up, and in the EMAG that will follow as well. If you're registered with on MalaysianChefs.com, and if you register, you will get a free copy of our EMAG, which will have all these wonderful recipes in them. Especially that prosperity chicken from the other day. Oh my goodness! Oh my goodness! Okay, so I'm just gonna put this on top of it. Okay. So
you know,
I'm just going to pat it down.
Quite surprisingly, some of the audience are still surprised that you have a Chinese blood.
The Chinese blood. Oh yes, yes. I'm a true Malaysian. I have a bit of everything in me. No, I'm actually. My mother is from Northern Ireland, and my father is Chinese Malay. With lots of other sprinklings thrown in there as well. So, and also within my family, I have uncles and aunts who have married into the family from our Chinese community. So yes, I've got lots and lots of Chinese friends and family, and yes, so my Hokkien is terrible though, so don't ever ask me to speak Hokkien. It doesn't go well. It's worse than my Malay. Okay, so what I've got now is I've got my rolling pin. To be honest, my rolling pin's a little heavy for this job, so I'm going to do it very lightly, but just a plain wooden rolling pin will suffice. And I'm just going to apply a little bit of pressure to it. So again, we're just trying to spread out the meat slightly, and again, I'm really lightly rolling it over, and you'll see that the meat starts pushing forward and backwards. So I'm aiming for about 3 to 2 mils of meat in terms of the thickness. You can go thinner, obviously, but that also comes with its own problems as well.
Okay. But what will happen if you go too thin?
If you go too deep, you'll know you've gone too deep because firstly you'll see through the meat onto the other side of the wax paper. That's how you know you've gone too far. I suggest if you do go too deep, either add a little bit more meat on and just push it in with your spoon, just to blend it in, or I recommend just throwing it back in the pot and starting again. But you can patch it; it's not a problem. So I'm just going to give that a thing. So just pull that off. See, it's actually very easy. It's not a difficult. It's not a difficult thing to make. This is the hardest part, actually. So I've got my wire wrap. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to brush the top of the meat with a little bit of oil. Obviously, because I don't want the meat to stick to the wire rack. Let's see already. See, I just tore it slightly there, but that's okay. So I'm just going to dab it a bit. Okay, and I'm also just going to run my brush over my metal as well.
So for all the viewers, hello everyone, all the chefs, lovely to see all the happy smile again. Yeah, Liam, Sid Chung say thank you for the big smile.
Always, always. For you guys, always got a big smile. Okay, now this is the bit I'm nervous about. Okay, everyone, as we say in South Africa, hold thumbs, as in
Okay.
cross your fingers. So I'm just
Yeah.
going to indent it slightly. I'm going to flip over the top end and swiftly just flip it over. Okay?
Okay.
So it's sitting on top.
Voila.
You know, just do it with confidence and you'll be okay. Now,
Okay.
what you got to do now is you need to peel off the wax paper, which is surprisingly coming off very well. What can happen is it can stick to the wax paper a little bit, and all you do is you just push the meat down with your spoon as you go along. The trickiest bits are actually in the corner. So as you're pulling the paper up, sometimes the corners snag, and that can tear the meat. So you just want to keep an eye on that. Like, I don't know if you can see there, it was just tearing slightly. So I'm just using my spoon just to keep stuff down. Oh dear, did I speak too soon that it was going too well? When will I learn? Don't say such things.
Don't say it first.
Don't say it. You can think it, but don't say it.
Yeah.
Okay, now this is actually going quite well.
That's great.
And again, this is where you've just got to be careful. Don't rush, and you won't get all of the meat necessarily. Some of your thinner ends at the end will actually break off. Like, especially right at the end here, I've just got a little bit that stuck to it, which is fine. Not the end of the world. And we're just going to get rid of that. Okay, so this is ready to go.
They look almost ready even before going
They
in.
do. So that's what we're after. So this is going to go into the oven for, as I said, for about 15 minutes. If you're making a pork or beef version, it may be slightly longer, about 20 minutes. But because the chicken cooks a bit faster and it's a bit leaner, we don't want to leave it in too long. So I'm just going to pop this in the oven. I would recommend also putting a baking sheet underneath it, because you will get a lot of drip and a lot of fat and sauce will come off. So if you want to keep your oven clean, definitely have the baking tray underneath.
Okay. Do you reckon any particular style or type of oven? Because some oven, you know, the ovens that I have is a flame oven. The gas flame oven is not the
No, it doesn't really make any difference. So long as the temperature is correct, it shouldn't make any massive difference to it. Generally in South Africa, we don't really have gas ovens so much, because we actually find that they're much harder to regulate the heat. So we actually find electric ovens are a little bit easier to work with. But yes, it shouldn't make any difference. It should be fine. So that's the first part. Then, like I said, we would leave it in for 15 minutes, increase the heat to 180. And then another, let's say 15 minutes as well. You can just check to see how it's going, depending on your oven. Right. And then once that's done, and this is where I'm cheating slightly, I actually have done some already, because there's quite a long wait otherwise. So once that process is over, we then want to give it a little bit of char to it. We want to just make sure it's got a little bit more flavor to it. So traditionally you would use maltos, which is it's a bit like syrup, Chinese syrup. You can use honey as well, or in this instance, I'm actually using golden syrup. All will give you much the same effect. If you want to go for a more natural product, then obviously honey is your best bet. I haven't diluted it because I don't want it to run, and I want it to burn quite quickly. So I've left it as it is. And in this heat that we've got currently, it's virtually liquid anyway. So yeah. But if you are cooking this in a colder climate, you may want to just heat up your honey or your syrup a little bit, right?
Okay. Yeah. So it's recommended that it's a little bit more spreadable, right?
Yes. Yes. You don't, obviously, if it's a big clump, it's not going to work. So I'm just going to show you what here.
So for all the viewers, if you have any further question for Liam, or you want to know more about Liam's kitchen, or you know, what he's been exploring or experimenting in his new kitchen, so just drop us a quick type. You know, we can always bring it
Indeed,
up and
I
answer
can
you.
give you I can give you a virtual guided tour if you like.
Yeah, someone earlier was saying after this, if Liam can give a virtual tour, that would be great.
Oh, okay. I can give you a virtual tour of this half of the kitchen. This is like the clean half. The other half is where I throw in everything else. So maybe
So
maybe
you
it'd
can
be a
skip that.
tour of
Yeah.
two halves.
Yeah, you can skip that. It's all right.
Okay, so these are my little bakwa pieces that came out. So I'm just going to pick one up and show it to you. That is how
We
it
have
comes out looking
wow.
without being charred. Now I've cut
Okay.
mine into pieces. So obviously it's very rustic when it comes out because you get all the edges are not really trimmed off, which is fine, which is, but if you want to cut them up into smaller pieces and clean them up, that's also easy too. I actually use a pizza wheel just to cut along the side. That I find that's the easiest. Ignore a sharp knife is fine. But I like my bakwa in small little pieces because then I don't feel like I'm eating quite so much of it. You get those big giant pieces that, yeah, I think I'd feel too guilty. Okay, so what we're gonna do, I'm just gonna.
Yeah, you have. I think literally everyone is asking to get a tour. So make sure you have that later on.
Okay,
Bring
right.
everyone in a virtual.
Before we char it, let's have a little turn around. Okay, I'll show you my magic cupboards. If anyone's interested. These are the love of my life. So I have these lovely pantry cupboards that I've had made up with lovely shelves on the inside.
You have
Those are
Jan Ghani saying
Sorry?
Kongsi Fak Choi. Jan Ghani.
Oh, that's my aunt. Hi, Jan.
Okay.
Hi.
Jan,
Yes, it's actually with Jan's family that I used to go and stay with in Penang.
okay.
But they lived in KL, and she and my uncle Kim Chi would come down to visit his family with their kids. And yes, I was always, like I said, my mother was like, go be with your aunt. I don't want anything to do with you. And I wouldn't see my family for a whole week other than on Chinese New Year Day when they would come to visit me in my Chinese family house. Yeah.
So
Interesting.
you have Adeline, hi, watching from Singapore. Adeline, good to see Chef Liam back watching. Yeah, hi. So you were giving a virtual tour. Let's continue the virtual
tour. Yes,
tour.
okay, that's the other side. So, and then on this side, it comes down like that. And then we've got my island. Sorry, I would be scared to take my camera off my tripod because the last time I did that, it all went terribly wrong. And then the kitchen goes around that way. And that's it. Nice. That's it. That's my kitchen. Yeah, love it. Absolutely love it. So bakwa. Now that the tour is over, the bakwa. So what we're going to do is I've got a little brush. So I'm just going to dab on top of bakwa. Let me just turn my camera down so you can see what I'm doing. Just move all of this out the way.
So for all the viewers who just probably just tune in, right? Liam is sharing with us a nice and beautiful recipe. Chinese New Year is coming up. Everyone can try it out. He's doing bakwa, but chicken bakwa. So
chicken bakwa. And what's nice about this recipe too is that the ingredients that you need for it are actually generally pretty available. There's nothing really that's totally, often with Malaysian food, there's a lot of things that you just can't get hold of if you don't live in Malaysia, for any of our viewers who are not living in Malaysia. So this is actually a really nice way of getting a nice authentic taste without actually having to kill yourself trying to find different ingredients. Okay, then my little blowtorch.
Quick one, Liam. Now, Victoria is asking, Shah Ghani is your family? She met him 2 years back.
I don't know. Did you? What's it? No, I don't think so.
Okay.
Shah Ghani, no. As far as I know, not. Okay, so I'm just blowtorching this. Now you've got to blowtorch the edges. That's where the best parts are. The bakwa corners are, for me, the tastiest parts. So really, we just want to give it a nice. Obviously, now you don't want to overdo it. You don't want it to be fully burnt, but just run it over slightly. Oh, the smell! Oh my goodness.
I can smell it here, I think.
Can you? Oh my goodness, I am not surprised. Okay, I'm just going to dab the other side. In fact, my other memory of bakwa was when when I used to live in Penang. There was this is going to show my age. There was an old, on Burma Road, an old cinema called the Rex. And there was a gentleman outside who used to sell bakwa in a bun and with a little bit of sauce. It was like a little rectangular bun, bit of butter inside, the bakwa and the sauce. Oh, it was the best cinema food of my life. It was so good. Popcorn has never been the same since.
Yeah, it's quite interesting to have such a snack if you go for a movie time, right?
Okay. And that, my friends, is bakwa.
Yeah,
That's it.
amazing.
So you should let it cool down slightly before eating it. Again, that will also help with the sugar as well, the sugar coating. That will actually allow it to set a little bit. And then depending on where you are, you may want to store it in the fridge. I think, especially with the chicken version, I think it's best to store in the fridge. But yes, that's bakwa for you. It's that simple. It really is.
Amazing.
But my one thing I have to advise you though, obviously because of the oven cooking time, I would suggest that a bigger batch that you can make, the better. Because on occasion, with my one solo little rack, I feel like I'm a bakwa making machine, constantly going through the whole thing. So if you can double up, it will make life so much easier for you. If your oven allows that amount of space, obviously. But yes, it really would make a difference. And so I'm going to eat my bakwa.
Yeah, we have Annie is asking, can you put the slices of cooked bakwa under the grill?
Yes, you can. Definitely. If you don't have a blowtorch, don't worry about it. Take it out after the second cooking time. Give it all.
Bless you. Get water. It must be very, very nice. You know,
don't eat bakwa and talk at the same time.
Yeah,
that's a bad idea. Okay. So, yes, you can. Yes, you can indeed. Like I said, take it out after the last 180 session. And then, again, brush it with your maltose honey or golden syrup. Turn it up to a full grill and put it back in for a few minutes. And again, just keep an eye on it. You just want to singe it. You don't want to burn it. That's the only thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, absolutely.
Great.
Yeah.
So Jackie is
I
asking,
like
from your childhood bakwa sandwich, which sauce if you can remember, which sauce was it?
Oh, I don't know. I swear that sauce must have gone to the grave with that man, because I've never tasted it anywhere else. But it was very much like a slightly hoisin tasting sauce. It was very thin, so it wasn't like a thick sauce. It really just moistened the meat and just soaked through slightly to the bun. And and it was so small. That's the other thing. They were like that big, and I was like, come on, just give me like one that size, and I'll be thrilled. But yeah, it's one of those sauces I've never really encountered anywhere else. I actually haven't really seen anyone else sell it like that before. But that man, he has a special place in my memory.
Okay, that's good. I mean, it's quite interesting if you go back and maybe someone has inherit and get to continue.
You never know. Sadly, the Rex Theatre is no longer there, if I remember. Last time I was there, I'm sure it was gone. So unless they've set up shop somewhere else, but yes, I don't think that's likely, though, sadly. Those cinemas are long gone. Those wonderful cinema days.
Yeah, there's a lot of other viewers watching from Frankfurt, just saying hi again. So I think there's a few viewers who just pop in, but they can always rewatch, right? Watch replay, and hashtag and tell you. And also you can ask questions in between. So Liam can just pop in again and answer questions. Go to MalaysianChef.com and join, and you get connected more, right?
Yeah, no, definitely. I'm just gonna hold. I won't eat it again just because I choked to death on it, but so people can see what we made. Oh, look at that gloss on it, though. Oh, wow. That gloss is good.
It looks proper bakwa.
It looks like proper, doesn't it? It really does. And when you look at how it's made, you think, oh, really? That's not going to work. But the key is really to try to get that consistency so it holds together, so it breaks off nicely into pieces, holds together. Yeah. So I think using those 2 spoons is really quite essential, because what you're doing is you're really intertwining the fibers a little bit, which will help bind it. And yeah, and it works quite well. If you want, you can also use a bit of water on the side just to clean your spoons off as you go. But be careful not to add too much moisture to it, though, because it's quite a wet mix as it is. But yeah, sorry, excuse me, everyone. I just want to lick my fingers the rest of my way through this.
Yeah.
I'm going to hit you up with some questions.
Festive is coming up, everyone is excited now. Everyone can start to make their own bakwa and get ready.
Absolutely.
You think you can freeze them by the time
Yes.
you take it out? Chinese New Year?
Yes. Well,
Yeah.
I don't see why not. No, definitely. So, Jackie, did you approve?
Oh yeah, it looks fantastic. It looks better than mine. I wanted to ask you. I wasn't paying. I was distracted earlier. But with the chicken mince, how finely minced did you have the chicken?
I quite finely ground the chicken breast, but the thighs I kind of did a medium ground to it. Again, because I wanted that slight chunkiness in it as well. And also just for the fat content, and because bakwa, the pork version, chicken version, it mustn't be ubiquitously kind of thin and without sort of texture. So you want to sort of mix the two textures a little bit. I think that's kind of how I've worked. Because you want those bumpy bits. Bumpy bits give you nice charred bits. That's the way I see it.
Okay. Can you get halal bakwa in Malaysia nowadays? Do you know, Renee? Have you had bakwa before?
Yeah, I had. I think I've done it. What you call a product tasting with beef bakwa.
Oh yeah. I actually like beef better, I have to admit.
Yeah. And probably next, maybe I will try to make with fish. So it's the otak version of bakwa.
That'd be interesting, right? Yeah, that'd be interesting. Yeah, you'll have to do a separate show on that.
Yeah.
See how it turns out. But I found it really interesting how you did it on the rack without the baking sheet on, because I actually usually bake it with the baking sheet on to keep it intact. But I might try your method now.
I find, again, the more exposure it has to heat, the better. I find it dries out much quicker. But I mean, again, if you want to try it without peeling it off, do so as well. But yeah, this is just the way I've always tried. I just believe if you can get the heat from both ends, both sides, top and bottom, you'll get a much more uniform finish.
Do you just stick a tray underneath to catch all the juices, or is it pretty okay? Okay.
No. You need a tray to catch it. I didn't when I made this, and my baking tray was a disaster. It was very Jackson Pollock. Jackson Pollock all over the place.
But I think the difficulty. Yeah, sorry, go on.
No, as I say, just also the thing about the chicken version. Someone actually pointed out to me the other day that the chicken version is actually a lot more tender than the pork version. So if you want something that's not quite as chewy, then the chicken version is actually a better option.
All right. Can you actually use, instead of using chicken mince, can you use thinly sliced chicken, do you think? Oh no.
I don't know, because then you're kind of in the realms of making chicken char siu. For me, you need to actually have that blended meat in order to get that nice flat texture. It would be delicious, but it wouldn't be bakwa.
Okay, sure. Yeah. Because I'm just thinking of saving time, sort of if people buy a pack of thinly sliced meat or something like that. I think, Masna says it looks really easy to make alternative to processed ham with lots of sugar, Masna. Yeah.
Oh, lots of sugar. Sorry. Yeah. Although half a cup for a kilogram of meat, it's a lot, but it could be worse. Yeah.
Oh, Jan says you can get halal chicken bakwa in IKEA. Oh,
really? Wow.
There you go. She must mean IKEA in Malaysia?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
See, Sarah.
My family actually have an IKEA just very close to their house. So when we go there, we go to IKEA quite a lot. It's it's one of our little pilgrimages whenever we go to PJ.
Sarah's hitting you up for otak bakwa, Renee.
Oh, I'm so curious for that. Yeah, Renee, you may have just started a revolution there.
Annie's asking.
Eclectic version of it.
Yeah, that'll be full on eclectic. And you're saying, can we use the ready minced chicken breast and thigh meat we get from supermarkets instead of
Yes.
mincing the meat ourselves? That's what I used to
of
do.
course.
And yeah, like I said, I used to actually sell this in limited amounts because, I have to admit, you're right, Liam. It's a bit of a pain, especially when you think you're like rolling the meat into such thin sheets. They take up so much room in your oven. You can only do small
do.
amounts at a time,
Yeah.
right? So I used to
Yeah.
do it at a commercial kitchen with those big combi ovens. So yeah, Adeline now wants to know which IKEA.
Oh, Damansara.
There you go. That one's
There you go.
Tara. Adeline will have to make a trip to Malaysia.
One thing I have to say about making bakwa though is don't let the fact that you only necessarily make so much of it at any one time put you off. It's a treat. That's how you've got to see it as well. You're making it probably once or twice a year, and yeah, it's something that you're just really making just as a treat. So don't let that put you off too much either.
Sure.
Unless you plan selling it or giving it away to all your neighbors, which would be awesome. I would want you as my neighbor. Yeah, don't let that put you.
Yeah, it is worth making because, like you said, the recipe is actually quite simple and the technique is actually not that big a deal. But and if you buy it, like I think in Malaysia, it's quite expensive nowadays.
It really is. I know. I thought it was just me with our South African currency, thinking, goodness me. But no, bakwa is not a cheap thing to go buy. And this way, you avoid the queues. Let's all be honest. This time of this year, those queues around those bakwa shops just go on and on. Maybe not this year. But beat the queue. Make your own.
Yeah, I mean, I think I like because like the Chinese, I mean, I guess just like the Malays, at like specific festivals around the year, they would spend days making stuff. So they'll make the bakchang. I prefer bakwa to bakchang, but you never hear people make bakwa, but they always make the, the what do you call it? Those, the chang, those pyramid shaped things. Yeah. I'm not. To be fair, I don't
which
eat
is,
pork.
which is a real technique, I have to say. I've made that once before.
Have you? Right.
Oh yes, there were a few versions that were just like fell apart in my hands. I wasn't very good at it.
But it's one of those things I never bothered learning to make because, like I said, because I don't eat pork, and it just seems to be all like But so I might actually one day do a non-pork version. But I prefer bakwa to bakchang anytime. All right. Is there any last words you want to mention about your bakwa? Any final tips?
Make lots of it. Make lots of it, eat lots of it, have a good Chinese New Year. And if you can't get out and you want a little bit of Chinese New Year joy, this is it. This is your recipe. That's all I can say.
There you go. And Renee is, like I said, guys, Renee is from our core MOMC group. Liam is from our MOMC at Heart spinoff. Renee, you might want to give a little spiel about what we're working behind the scenes with. People are wondering where all our MOMC chefs are. I think this is the first time.
Everyone is wondering, okay, where are we at and all those. So we have a big change. I mean, it's a good change for all the viewers. We want to make a new approach to our Masters of Malaysian Cuisine for you guys, right? We're gonna do a show, or it's a proper like a cooking show for you guys. So we are aligning everything, and then there's a lot to share. So it's more a good content. You're gonna got a lot. You're gonna benefit with a lot of contents to it. So just keep an eye on that, and then keep updated on it.
Yeah. So Renee and all the MOMC chefs, we're working on MOMC TV. So MOMC Mondays is on hiatus at the moment. When it comes back, it'll be MOMC TV Mondays. Okay, so guys, make sure you guys keep your eyes peeled for announcements on that. But obviously, right now we're all busy doing the Kongsi broadcast, which I think is going to be amazing. We've got hopefully some very, very special guests lined up. I can't say anything more, but watch this space. All right. Thank you so much, Liam. That was a great effort. Beautiful work. Liam's recipes are always like so incredibly precise and so organized. You know, I love his work. And of course, Renee, thank you so much for taking time out of your incredibly busy schedule. For those of you who don't know, Renee is the executive head chef over at a 5-star hotel in Dubai. So he's very, very busy and got a lot of very, very big responsibility. So we appreciate you taking the time out to host this.
Really.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Renee.
Anything for the love of food.
Absolutely. That should be our motto.
All right, guys, have a great night, and we'll see you back here on our next session will be next Wednesday. Ciao. Bye.
Ciao.
Bye. Bye, everyone.
Bye bye.